It's officially October, the best month of the whole year, and not just because it's my birthday. October means the air gets crisp, nights are cool, pumpkin spice is back, and scary movies are the entertainment of choice. Horror movies are a staple genre in cinema, stemming back all the way to 1896 with French filmmaker Georges Méliès's 2.5 minute silent short film, Le Manoir du Diable, known in English as both The Haunted Castle or The House of the Devil. The film depicts a devil appearing inside a medieval castle where he harasses all the visitors. The film is intended to evoke amusement and wonder from its audiences rather than fear, really showcasing the idea of a new film technique of special effects. Over time, horror has evolved and continues to grow using different themes and story devices that keep its audience's nerves right on the edge of their seat. With ever expanding subgenres that help to make horror one of the most versatile film genres ever. Horror movies make us laugh, they make us cry, and they make us scream in absolute terror. And we love it. Whether it's Michael silently stalking us through town, or Samara crawling out of the television, or even a little boy telling us a secret. Subconsciously, we love the tension buildup, the jump scares, the beating heartbeat, the sweaty palms. It's a thrill ride that grabs you and doesn't let you go until the credits roll and the lights turn on. Each year around this time, you can bet that you'll be asked one of two questions. And and there are so many greats to choose from. The Shining, Nosferatu, Halloween, Suspiria, Nightmare on Elm Street, Psycho, Candyman. You get the picture. And I too have mulled over that question before. But in the end, I decided that my favorite scary movie was the one that really terrified me the most, the one that had the most visceral impact on me, the one that lingers with me the longest in that all encompassing feeling of dread and says something at the same time that makes it a classic. And for me, that movie has always been The Exorcist. From the iconic scene of the priest arriving at the house to Reagan's backwards crawl down the stairs to the numerous bedroom scenes that burned into my brain. There hasn't been a scary movie in my mind that surpassed the position of The Exorcist. As I've gotten older, I've always wondered if there would be a horror movie that I would feel like would strike me as much as The Exorcist always has. And while there's been some very high contenders on my list, The Exorcist always remained the champ. Then I saw this.
Okay. You full of that's what you are. You full of now take that to the bank and cash that damn.
And so I went to see it. Ironically, of course. And what did I think when I left? It was pretty good. So, on Halloween, the spookiest day of the year, let's talk about the movie that made the most dysfunctional family feel like the Brady Bunch. Hereditary premiered in 2018 and was written and directed by Ari Aster, a newcomer on the scene that completely changed the game with not only this film, but his follow up, Midsommar. Produced and released by A24, one of the premier hubs for indie filmmakers, Hereditary was a complete mind fuck and played with the themes of family trauma and secrets that we keep from ourselves and those closest to us. Ari Aster likes to insert realistic trauma into his films, turning situations and themes that are relatable, but then adds elements of terror that make you look at doll houses completely differently. While Midsommar focuses on themes of relationships, Hereditary focuses on family drama. a family where the matriarch's whole life is cloaked in strange happenings and secrecy. And in passing, we see how these events triggers a domino of horror for the rest of the family. Scene by scene, we learn more and more about why this family is so dysfunctional and how past horrors keep passing themselves down from one generation to another. On top of that, there's some sort of ghost light following them around. The film really kicks into gear when what seems like a horrific accident takes another family member and sends the family drama into a tailspin. From there, all hell breaks loose as Annie, played by the brilliant Toni Collette, befriends Joan, who gives her a way to be with her daughter Charlie again through a seance. The trauma of losing her daughter Charlie has sent Annie to a dark place, a place that has pushed her to act and to start the clock on a possession plan that has been in place since she was a kid. Turns out Grandma was a part of a Satan worshiping cult whose sole mission was to bring back one of the princes of hell. And you thought your family was bad. The cult's goal is to conjure Payman's spirit into a human body. And while they were actually successful with Charlie, and we've even been given subtle signals of his presence, Payman is not feeling the shell and prefers a male body, meaning that Peter is actually the target. As the film nears its climax, the shit hits the proverbial fan, as Annie is possessed and running all over the house and even sacrifices herself to put the finishing touches on the family curse to bring Payman back with a shiny new Peter body. Hereditary is my most idealistic mindset to the pinnacle of modern horror. Commentary and character study, a horrific look at some of the most painful parts of our everyday lives, showing that family trauma really can be inherited from one generation to another. It's not a feel good family movie because life isn't feel good. It's just not always like that. And sometimes people who you should be the closest to can be the ones that hurt, harm, or even haunt you the most. Hereditary is the full manifestation of toxicity within the nuclear family, but with a supernatural twist, which really just dramatizes the horror that already exists on a surface level. Much like what The Shining did for mental illness and domestic violence, or Candyman did for racism and gaslighting. Hereditary intelligently and beautifully unnerves the audience into recognizing our own family as we watch the one on film completely fall apart. The Grams are our vehicle into this traumatic inheritance of horror story. And as we displace ourselves, our family members, our siblings into the characters, we can see our own family traumas play out in full color on screen. While not every scary movie can rise to the level of The Shining or Suspiria or Nosferatu or The Exorcist, Ari Aster has definitely solidified himself in film iconography with this modern horror masterpiece. And now Dollhouse has completely creeped me out. Thanks for that. Thanks for stopping by for another episode, the spooky episode of The Breakdown, where we looked at Ari Aster's 2018 horror masterpiece, Hereditary. This film was absolutely unnerving. It's dark, it's creepy the way it's shot. All of the actors, there was no notes. No notes. This was fantastic. And if you haven't heard or seen the film, definitely go check out the follow-up Midsommar. It's one of those, it's really, really high up there. And it completely, just like Hereditary, in my opinion, completely upended the genre and really kind of made us look at horror characters. I think sometimes that we get so inundated with just like the slashery part of it, the just the dying and the gore, that we don't actually like to flesh out characters, or maybe we're too lazy in our filmmaking. But I love the way that he approaches the genre, that he looks at the characters and then designs the horror just to be happening around them. And then I think Midsommar really kind of takes that and really flips it on its head. Horror is really all about being on the edge of your seat. And a lot of times we're just using techniques, dark angles, not being able to see things and letting the mind kind of take control and letting your imagination just kind of put whatever there that you might think it would be, which unnerves you because you can't see what's actually there. Yeah, Midsommar is nothing like that. You see everything. There is no dark corners anywhere. Literally everything, and I mean everything about the plot, the story, everything that's going to happen is laid out in front of you. All you have to do is look, be engaged, and look with your eyes. And that's the one thing that I love. I love about that movie is that it doesn't hide anything from you. It puts everything out in bright sunshine, clear as day, but it's still unnerving as hell. And that is why Ari Aster to me is great in this genre. I don't know if he is going to make anything else in the genre. Typically, like really good directors and writers like him probably don't. They don't want to get pigeonholed into one particular style of filmmaking, which I definitely understand. But you've definitely made a mark, and these two are definitely climbing and climbing to the top of my list. I'm really really loving horror television right now. I love the fact that we can kind of blend it into our everyday watching experience and not just kind of keep it to movies that come around October. My favorite absolutely is American Horror Story, but I love the Haunting on Hill House series on Netflix. It's it's climbing up there with American Horror Story, but I love me some Ryan Murphy. Some of my other favorite modern horror movies are definitely, I love the Conjuring movies. I feel like they've gotten a little cheesy as time is going on, and um, they just they're not as good. I don't think sometimes with movies like that you can be as good as the original, but the first two were really really good. So if you like The Conjuring, go check it out. The third one I think is available on HBO Max for streaming. But yeah, watch something scary for Halloween. Check out the new Halloween movie. Jamie Lee Curtis is, I love her in these movies. I love the fact that she's always willing to come back. Make sure you're safe when you go out trick or treating. And have a good spooky time, everybody. Bye. I hope you enjoyed this spooky episode of The Breakdown. While you're here, subscribe, like, and hit the bell for reminders of when I put up our next video. Make sure you check out the website to see the blog, book reviews, the Me and Mike podcast, and even more video breakdowns. Drop me a line and let me know what you'd like to see covered next. And follow me on all my socials. The link is in the description and pinned to the comment box below. Thanks again for stopping by. Till next time.